Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will begin with chapter 37, verse 10. We left off with questions yesterday. Yosef has had a second dream. He tells his brothers about the dream, and this is the dream with the sun and the moon and the stars. He tells his brothers about the dream, and then he tells his father and his brothers about the dream. So he didn't tell his father about the first dream, and why? So why one dream yes and one dream no? And probably the more pressing question. It has consecutive psukim about Yosef telling his brothers about the dream. The first time it's his brothers alone for the second dream. The second time for the second dream, it's his brothers with his father. What's going on? Ramban on Pasuk Yod. Vayeishev Aviv. Siper hachalom hazel aviv v'lo rishon. So first of all, he told his father the second dream and not the first. Kihu atzma makir pipisrono. Yosef understood the pshat in the dream. Yosef understood the meaning. Ki hashemesh yirmos la'aviv. Because, see, the first dream, there were just 11 bundles bowing to Yosef. So there's no place for his father in that dream. Second dream, there's 11 stars, and then there's a sun. The sun is his father. V'hu goarbo. And it says in the pasuk that Yaakov spoke strongly to Yosef. So first of all, it's so interesting. Yosef comes, it's not just that he has a dream, Yosef is sharing the dreams with the people he feels it's relevant to. Hi, you should know that I had a dream about you bowing to me. So he tells his brothers both times. And he tells his father for the second dream because now his father is relevant to it also. His father's a character in the second dream. Vitam ve'el echav pam shenis. Why does he tell his brothers a second time about the same dream? Ki yisapro so la'aviv b'fnei achiv. B'fnei achav, excuse me. So he says the pshat in the pasuk, which is absolutely implied if you look at the language in verse 10. First, he told his brothers privately, and then he told his father, and he made sure his brothers would be there to hear the exchange between him and his father. So that's what it means that he told his brothers a second time. But who goaro? So why does Yaakov react strongly to Yosef? So the first thing that the Ramban says is l'shakech chamasa me'alav. To cool down the brothers. In other words, we have famously in the next pasuk it says V'aviv shomaros hadavar, which Rashi understands mean that his father anticipated the matter. So if his father anticipated the matter, why is he angry at his son in the previous verse? So the Ramban says because he's trying to calm down his other children. His other children are obviously very upset right now. So the Ramban says that Yaakov is trying to make light of the whole thing. V'tam. The pshat is like, what is this dream anyway? Klomar, what are you wasting our time with this? This is a meaningless dream. That's how the Ramban explains the ma here. This is shtuyot. This is nothing. So he's saying that, says the Ramban, so that the brothers aren't jealous. O tam hagara lomar. Second pshat Ramban says as to Yaakov's reaction is, what are you thinking about during the day that this is what you dreamt at night? In other words, only a person who is thinking in a haughty way would have such a dream. This is haughtiness. So Yaakov says, do you think I and your mother and your brothers will come to bow to you? So according to the first pshat in the Ramban, it means just because there's a dream you think it's going to happen. This is just a dream. It's nothing. The second pshat is, are you like fantasizing about us all coming to bow down to you? Is that what you're thinking about during the day? It's crazy, and that's why you had such a dream. So it gives, I think, a little more of a context of what's going on. Okay, let's go ahead to verse 14. So the story moves on, back to regular day-to-day life. The brothers go to take care of the flock of sheep off in Shechem. And now in 14, Yaakov has told Yosef he wants him to go to check on the brothers, see what's going on, kind of give a status report, whatever. Vayomer lo. So Yaakov says to Yosef, go see the welfare of your brothers, the welfare of the sheep, v'ashiveni davar, and bring back to me word. Let me hear. Vayishlocheu me'emek Chevron, and he sent him to be from the valley of Hebron. Literally, Emek means depth. Vayavo Shchema, and he came to Shechem. This phrase of Emek Hebron, Rashi really starts it off because he says, that's interesting. Hebron is on a mountain. So what are you talking about? The Emek of what are you talking about? So Emek Hebron really catches the attention of the commentaries as to what's meant that he sent them from the depth of Hebron. What does that mean? Ramban, Pasuk Yudal, Vayishlacheu me'emek Hebron. Yaskir HaKasav Hamakom Asher Shlocho Misham. The Torah tells us the place from which he sent him. Lomar. So first of all, I mean, the other question is, why does he have to say where he sent him from? Who cares where he sent him from? Just tell us where he's going. You know, Lomar Merchak Rav Beineim. So the first chapter Ramban says is it gives you an appreciation that actually was a long trip from Hebron to Shechem. V'lachein asu imo ra ki rechokim hayu me'aviyam. That's a significant part of the story, says the Ramban, because this thing that they did to their brother was only feasible to do because it was so distant from where their father was. If it was in the backyard, maybe their father will come out at any minute. That could be terrible. So this whole story only transpires because they were so far away. So it's relevant to know from where Yaakov sent Yosef and where he sent him to. Ulahagid ki Yosef l'chvod aviv nishametz olachas achreim b'makom rachok v'lo omar eich elech v'hem sonim osi. Another interesting point, says the Ramban, is this gives you a sense of Yosef's devotion to his father. I mean, the same reason why it was feasible for them to do something to him because it was so far away, it would make sense for Yosef to be nervous. And for Yosef to say, how can I go there? I can't go there. It's so distant. And they hate me. What are they going to do to me? I'll have no protection. But Yosef went anyway. Then the Ramban cites the Medrash, which Rashi also cites, which actually is that Yaakov sent Yosef from the place of the depth of Hebron, meaning connecting to the one who is buried in Hebron. Who is buried in Hebron? Avraham. And Avraham had a covenant with God, the Bris Bein HaBasarim. Then part of the covenant had to do with the ultimate exile of his offspring. And this very seemingly mundane moment of Yaakov being sent to check on the sheep and the brothers is going to start the ball rolling for the fulfillment of the Bris Bein HaBasarim, because this is going to start the ball rolling towards the exile of Egypt. So that's an interesting medrash in addition. Okay, let's see the Kli Yakar. Kli Yakar on Pasuk Yudalad. Vayishlacheu me'emek Hebron. He sent him from Emek Hebron. Pirish Rashi. Me'etza amuka shel oso tzadik hakaver b'Hebron. So Rashi explains it means from the deep counsel of the righteous person buried in Hebron, which is what we were talking about before. Lashon etza v'lashon amuka tzrichen biur. Kli Yakar says this is a really interesting pshat, but what does it mean anyway? What does it mean, the etza amuka, the deep counsel? Kimi yoat zoso etza. What counsel? Avram didn't give anybody advice about this. Avram had a covenant with God. And what's the depth that we're talking about? Like the deep counsel. What does that mean? There's a very interesting medrash, which of course is very difficult to understand, but we'll do our best. Medrash says that God asked Avraham, there's going to have to be something challenging for your offspring. Do you want them to have the fires of Gehenna or of hell, or do you want them to have exile? And Avram said exile. In Cain, Zos ha'etza hayutza asher yoatz Avram. So if you think of that, Medrash says the Kli Yakar, now we understand what it means, the counsel of Abraham. Levar hagalios b'makom ha'gehenim hanikra sha'ol amuka. That Abraham decided that they'd be better off with exile. Ki b'zeh maturitz k'shisrael chotim lama ke'en hakadosh baruch hu dono samal artzam Well, it's a standard thing that when the Jewish people do the wrong thing, if they're living in the land of Israel, they get exiled. Why can't, I mean, God wants to punish them, okay? I mean, why does the standard punishment have to be exile? Why? So it's an interesting thing. So the Ramban says that, the Kli Yakar says that whole idea is also fulfillment of Avram's request to God. So he says that's the pshat in the Medrash, the Eitzah Mukha, the deep counsel of Abraham, that Abraham advised better for the Jewish people to be in exile than to be in hell. And so he says the idea of depth is the counsel regarding depth, meaning exile versus the depth of Gehenna. Just an interesting thing. Okay, moving on to verse 15. So Yosef goes to Shechem, Vayimtza'ehu ish. So a man finds him, V'nei soeh basadeh. And Yosef is obviously wandering in the field. Vayishalehu ha'ish lemor ma tvakesh. And the man asked him, what are you looking for? 16. Vayomer esachai anochi mavakesh. Yosef says, I'm looking for my brothers. Hagidonali efo himrim. Could you tell me where they're shepherding the flock? 17. Vayomer ish nasumi zeh. The fellows as well, they've left this spot. I heard them talk about let's go to Dosan. So Yosef goes to Dosan. 3 psukim. It's so perplexing why these 3 psukim exist. What's the point? And did he buy any snack at the gas station? I mean, that's all that happened. He couldn't find him. He didn't know where he was going. A person comes, what can I do for you? No. What does it matter? Say, he found them in Dosan. What do you need this for? Ramban on Pasuk Tesva. Yomar, he got lost. He didn't know where to go. He was looking for them in a place of grazing, so that's why he went into the field. The Torah goes to great length to tell us about this. So the Ramban says the first point is he really didn't know where to go, but he didn't give up. He was wandering in the field. He didn't know what was what. He could have shrugged his shoulders and went back home. And again, as we mentioned in the previous Ramban, he had reason to be afraid, but he kept on trying. So that's a praise of Yosef. But then the Ramban says there's one more point. It also teaches us when God decrees something, it's going to be. Yosef wasn't going to be able to find the brothers. God sends a person to give Yosef direction. And this is of course, a powerful thing to think about. The Ramban is saying that the seemingly mundane point being made in the Psukim teaches us that if God's plan is for something to happen, it will happen. So we discussed this morning the Ramban regarding Yosef's telling his father and his brothers about the second dream, what the nature of Yaakov's reaction to Yosef was about the dream. We discussed the Ramban and the Kli Yakar about sending him from the depth of Hebron. And we discussed the Ramban regarding why do we have to have the whole exchange with the person who's helping him find his brothers.